Hi there, I have a special free gift for you today. What you're about to receive can literally change your life. Who am I? My name is Andrew Harper, and some people know me these days as the Genetic Wealth Code Guy. I'm not a scientist, I'm not an academic, I'm not some manifestation guru. In fact, I'm the last guy you would expect to be sharing this kind of life-changing secret. A secret genetic code that's been in our DNA for millennia and is cited in ancient books from Egypt, that's even been researched by the Pentagon, yet suppressed by mainstream media, blocked from social media. Yet here I am. I've helped over 37,000 of my followers activate their genetic wealth code and go rapidly from scrimping and saving and chronic money worries to attracting bulging bank accounts, exotic vacations, effortlessly, like steel to a magnet. It's why Steve, a warehouse manager, attracted a medium-sized lottery win that helped him quit his job. Or why Stacy, supermarket checkout supervisor, received a check from a relative she'd never heard of before. This ancient genetic code, when activated, has turned many lives around, transforming poverty into riches. This genetic wealth code turned me from a low-paid, wage slave airport baggage handler struggling to put food on the table for his family into a multi-millionaire. It came to me at a time when luck or fate decided to offer me a helping hand out of my emotional and financial pain and suffering. When a man I had a chance meeting with in a late-night airport bar chose me of all people to spill the beans on what the elites and the Pentagon have been hiding for decades. A secret that can make the average man or woman wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. But wait just 1 second. I'll bet you've got pretty skeptical about promises like these over the years. I don't blame you. Some skepticism can be good. There are a lot of people promising to make you rich from their wealth creation products online. Before I became wealthy beyond my wildest dreams, I fell for many of their empty promises. Let me tell you now, if what those guys share with you about manifestation can be found on a YouTube video or on Facebook, it's not a secret. The genetic wealth code cannot be accessed anywhere but on this page. I'm going to show you ironclad scientific proof today that this code works, and how you can start using this code to see money flooding into your bank account as soon as today. Look, if you want to attract wealth consistently and predictably in the next week, month, year, you're in the right place. The potential within all of us to become wealthy beyond our wildest dreams is held within the genetic wealth code you're about to activate today. It's not something you find outside you, not something you have to go on a magical mystery tour to discover, or spend money to get it for yourself. It's already inside you. And let me assure you, it has nothing to do with the law of attraction or affirmations or changing your brainwaves. You won't hear any manifesting guru talking about it anywhere. You won't hear about it on TV. If you're still here, I know one thing about you. You are serious about attracting all the money the universe is just dying to give you. And here's what I'd like you to know. It doesn't matter how many wealth attraction programs you bought before. How many times have you failed to manifest what you are dreaming of? What your level of education is? Because once you activate this genetic wealth code, you will immediately receive master-level control of the amount of money you can see flow into your life. I know it sounds too easy, but I'll prove it works beyond all doubt in just a few short minutes. You will start clearing any soul-crushing debt in your life. You will, for a change, consciously decide what you want to show up in your life. Your decisions will transform from, do I pay the gas bill or food bill, to where do I holiday, Mauritius or Fuji? In fact, if you stay until the end of this short video and put into action what I show you, like over 37,000 people have done before you, you'll find yourself attracting money effortlessly anytime you want. Honestly, I can't wait for you to experience what it's like to summon the universe to deliver whatever you desire. For you to feel that goofy grin spread across your face when money shows up in your life like magic. It's why you need to pay close attention to every word I'm about to say. So you might be thinking, who the heck am I to make such a huge promise? Before I continue, I hope you won't mind if I tell you why I care so deeply about helping you manifest the life of your dreams. As I said, my name is Andrew. I'm a 47-year-old father of 2. I live in Boise, Idaho with my beautiful wife, Carrie, and 2 gorgeous little girls, Kate and Sarah. And in the last year alone, I've helped over 5,000 regular people manifest a life they could only dream of before. Without them having to lift a finger, they just activated their genetic wealth code. We have all the trappings of living the American dream today. The boat, the luxury cars, the holiday homes, 6 vacations a year, enough money in the bank not to have to work again. Yet, like I say, I'm the last person you would think would ever be teaching something like this. I used to live here. Now I live here. So life has been good to me, very good. But it was not always the case. A little over 4 years ago, I was humping heavy baggage onto conveyor belts every day at Boise Airport. I spent my days watching other people jetting off having adventures while I stayed at home, barely able to get by, barely able to support my family, which filled me with a deep shame inside. I never talked about it to anyone. I mean, who wants to listen to a grown man tell you how he feels he's failed as a father and a provider? I worried about unpaid, mounting bills constantly. Maybe you can relate. A series of bad financial decisions had led me down a dead end of worry and despair about how to make ends meet. We lived paycheck to paycheck with nothing to spare. I was having multiple panic attacks when I was down to my last $100 in my bank account, until my salary hit the bank account just in time to save my bacon and keep a roof over my family's head. It was on a fearful merry-go-round of nerve-wracking lack of cash and just-in-time paychecks. Always surviving, never thriving. I'd been going along like this since I left high school, always struggling to get by. And then one day, it came to a head. If you're a parent or even just have a heart, I'm sure you can imagine how horrible I felt, how ashamed I felt when my beautiful little girl Sarah came running up to me on a Sunday afternoon, jumped up on my knee, and asked me where I was bringing her and her friends to eat the next Friday. I had completely forgotten I promised to take her and her friends to the movies and out after for burgers and fries for her birthday. And even worse still, when I checked my bank account balance, I realized I only had $30 to my name, until my wages came in again on the following Thursday. I also knew my wife Carrie was broke, as this was our joint account. She was on a minimum hours contract as a care home assistant since the start of that year. My heart sank in despair. I never felt like such a failure. After all, it was my job as a father to support and care for my family, and here I was, unable to cover the price of a few kiddies' meals for Sarah's birthday. I checked in with my wife Carrie later that day, hoping she'd have some extra money for Sarah's birthday dinner, but she was broke too. I knew what I had to do. Carrie's brother Jeff was visiting later that day for dinner. After dessert, when I left the table, as I had agreed with Carrie, I heard my poor wife ask him for a loan. This was one of many loans we had asked for over the years. Jeff, her brother, was a great guy, super generous, a successful history lecturer for one of the top universities in our state. My face burned with embarrassment in the next room as I overheard their lulled conversation. "I gotta say, I'm worried about you, Carrie," Jeff whispered. "If Andrew can't even cover something like this for his daughter, what kind of husband or provider is he? What kind of father is he?" His words hit me like a sledgehammer. Any remaining sense of pride in being a father drained instantly from my body. There and then I decided, no matter what, I knew I had to make more money. But how? I had tried everything over the years, from online get-rich-quick schemes and network marketing, only to find out they were a scam. The law of attraction, where gurus promised I could attract money by changing my brainwaves, and then nothing. So I did the first thing that came to mind, what society had programmed me to do. I put in for even more overtime at the airport. After a late shift of hurling baggage around that next day, I was shattered, so I dropped into the airport bar. Me and the guys on the baggage handling crew would meet up there now and again. None of the guys were around this night, so I ordered a beer for myself, then another one. I thought to myself, maybe if I drank a beer or two, I could forget what was going on at home for a while. Now this airport bar was full of all types of characters. I guess it's the same with every airport bar in the world. All types of people traveling from one place or another, all kinds of nationalities and backgrounds. Everyone goes through the same airport. I talked to many characters here over the years. I heard some wild stories. There's one guy, though, that was capturing my attention this night about 8 bar stools down. He seemed agitated, angry even. Maybe you know that sense we have when we can just pick up on what someone is feeling. So there he was, well-dressed in a gray slate suit, mid-30s, black hair slicked back into a ponytail, a little nerdy looking, throwing back shot after shot of Jack. I don't know what possessed me at the time. Maybe it was fate, maybe it was curiosity, but something was drawing me to this guy to find out what was going on with him. I pulled my stool up a little closer. "Hey buddy, everything all right?" He looked startled. "Relax," I said, "just saying hello. Just seeing if you're okay." "Why would you want to know that?" "What government agency do you work for?" The stranger barked back at me. Strange question, I thought to myself. "Forget I said anything. Sorry to bother you," I replied. "I work right here at the airport. Just saying, I'm one of those guys that gets your baggage on your plane, or even loses it sometimes." That's when I saw a smile crack on his face. We both shared a small chuckle. "Look, I'm sorry," he said. "I'm just a little agitated right now. Didn't mean to be rude. My name is Lance." "No problem. I don't take offense easily," I said. "We guys on the baggage crew have heard it all before, so we ordered up another round of Jack." "My treat," Lance said. "I insist." And after a few minutes, we were getting on pretty good. It was a welcome distraction to me to talk to a stranger. We just kind of felt comfortable with each other, I guess. Maybe because we were both going through some tough times. I felt so comfortable, in fact, that 3 drinks later, on top of the beers I had already had, I ended up spilling my guts to my new friend about my problems, my money problems and my daughter's birthday. The humiliation of having to borrow money from my brother-in-law, how I felt stuck in my dead-end job, and just then, there was a lull in the conversation. My new friend became silent for a second. "Everything okay?" I said. He stared at me for what seemed like a minute or two. Then he looked away, like he was deciding whether or not to tell me something. And then he just came out with it. "To hell with it," Lance muttered under his breath. "Look, man, I've just been fired from one of those big Chinese tech companies. You probably know the one I'm talking about. That's why I'm so agitated. I've never been fired from anywhere before. Now I'm thinking of leaving the country. And all your talk about money trouble just there has got me even more confused about what to do next," he continued. "This sounds crazy, right? But I've come across something, an explosive secret that could topple the balance of power back to someone like you, the good guy, the hard-working family guy who always gets shafted by the elites." Lance, the stranger I had come to know that night, started filling me in on his life so far. As it turned out, he was a computer data scientist who graduated from MIT first in his class. There was actually a small bidding war from some of the big tech companies for his services after his graduation. After weighing up his options, he ended up working for one of the big Chinese tech firms here in the USA, one of the largest social media companies in the world. And now, here he was, unemployed in an airport bar, and thinking of leaving the country. Lance had been working in the data management section of this Chinese tech company when he got an email one night that he was accidentally included on. He received tons of emails like this, but this one email he was not supposed to see. It was sent to him by mistake. It was serious, deadly serious. It changed everything for him. It became clear from this email that part of his company's agenda, this Chinese tech employer, was to hack into some government bodies here in the USA and steal what information they could. And recently, they had come across a Pentagon classified document. This document was connected to UFO encounters by the US Air Force. You've probably heard more and more about encounters with UFOs recently in the news. You might have seen a recent Newsweek article where the Pentagon is actually setting up a new office in 2023 to investigate more UFO sightings, as more and more UFOs were being reported every day. The article actually says, while we can explain more than half of UFO events, a sizable chunk remains a mystery. In fact, just recently, the Director of National Intelligence said they're focusing on some 171 UFO cases which require further analysis. What does all this mean? UFOs and aliens are no longer considered as crazy as before in the media, or dismissed as easily by government authorities. Even Barack Obama said UFO sightings are real in a recent interview. Lance's company had access to these plans from the Pentagon to set up more UFO investigation departments, years before they were made public recently in 2023. And that was alarming enough. But reading further into the email he received by accident that night piqued his interest even more. According to this email, the Pentagon document cited some old research into UFO and alien technology from many years ago and warned against the findings from the research getting out into the public domain. According to Lance, it turns out this classified email revealed that the Pentagon has been studying alien technology for years, many years, going back as far as the 1950s. And the technology they found, especially when it comes to manifestation, is proving now in their labs with science what ancient traditions have known for thousands of years, that there is a hidden genetic code within all of us that when activated manifests wealth, love, and happiness with practically no conscious effort on our part. Lance explained, as far back as 1954, a genetic scientist called George King claimed to have encountered extraterrestrial intelligence. He wrote a book about his experience called Cosmic Manifestation. It's a real book, you can look it up. From his encounters with alien technology and studying what they have found out about us humans, George had learned that people on Earth each have a little-known genetic wealth code that, when activated, could lead to unlimited happiness, peace, and yes, unlimited financial abundance. Lance explained, a genetic wealth code is just a series of genes. We have many such genetic codes in our bodies. Some of these genetic codes are responsible for eye color, or height, or even intelligence. Everything we are boils down to a genetic code of some kind somewhere in our DNA. George never figured out how to activate the genetic wealth code. This was way before anyone had ever even heard of the law of attraction or The Secret or anything like that. It sounded crazy at the time. The government had dismissed his experience and research back then, as they did so many others. Even paid off the media to ridicule him and make him seem crazy. But secretly, for many years, behind closed doors, genetic scientists at the Pentagon were researching what George had found. A series of genes that, when switched on, led to wealth and abundance flowing into our lives. It's like switching on a tractor beam to draw money automatically into your life. It sounds crazy, but so did the idea of aliens and UFOs not so long ago, Lance explained. The research on this series of genes, or genetic wealth code, had been going on for many years, and their findings were shocking. The Pentagon had conducted tons of genetic research, all behind closed doors, and had discovered there is in fact a genetic wealth code that, when activated, allows people to have a life where money just flows to them effortlessly. This genetic wealth code is naturally activated in only a tiny amount of people, according to the Pentagon. It's one of the main reasons why the 1% controls 97% of the wealth in the USA. It's the main reason why people do not have the money they want. It's the reason most people cannot seem to attract wealth. No matter what business they try or what manifestation technique they use, their genetic wealth code is simply not activated. The Pentagon researchers had been studying the 8% of genes in our bodies where scientists are not sure what function they have, to find out and analyze this genetic wealth code. The genetic wealth code was inside this group of so-called mystery genes. They discovered when this genetic wealth code is activated, you see the world through a different lens, so to speak. Imagine for a second the number of people in the world who have won the lottery. You don't necessarily win the lotto when this genetic wealth code is activated, although I personally know of many people I helped who have had a sizable lottery and scratch card wins when their genetic wealth code was activated. You do, however, attract money and wealth to you as effortlessly as one of these lotto winners. You just see and experience money opportunities other people don't. Remember that kid in the movie The Sixth Sense who could see dead people while others could not? Like that, except you see and experience money and wealth other people are blind to. And the story gets even more fascinating. According to Lance, the researchers inside the Pentagon had also found reference to this genetic wealth code in the famous ancient Egyptian text, the Book of the Dead, a 3,000-year-old book from the heart of ancient Egypt. Inside his book, they found what scholars referred to as a wealth chakra, or the third chakra. It was like an ancient code existing inside our bodies to automatically manifest wealth. And scientists have linked this third chakra to the idea of a genetic wealth code today. This book was full of ancient knowledge about ourselves and the universe, and it made reference to this genetic wealth code a number of times. When it talked about a kind of wealth code inside us, it referred to as a wealth chakra. There were other fascinating ideas in the book, like how ancient Sumerians were able to draw charts of our solar system on pyramid chamber walls thousands of years ago. Our solar system, which they could have no idea even existed. And speaking of pyramids, you've probably heard how the technology to build them was so advanced that even top engineers today are clueless about how they could do it. And many experts have suggested some outside influence, like that from extraterrestrials, might have had a hand in erecting these pyramids. I mean, these were some of the biggest buildings on Earth with 23 million stones in each. Some of these scientists have even suggested that extraterrestrial technology installed secret genetic codes in our DNA thousands of years ago that made us capable of extraordinary feats, like building pyramids, or maybe even manifesting wealth and success, and health and happiness without even trying hard. Anyway, This ancient book of the dead referred to the genetic wealth code in its own ancient Sanskrit language and how to activate it. There was just one problem. The Pentagon had no reliable method to activate this genetic wealth code inside us. But after years of research on this genetic wealth code and deciphering some of the coded Sanskrit instructions in the ancient book of the dead, they were making some progress toward activating this genetic wealth code in certain people. Lance told me part of the email that landed on his desk that was most dramatic was how these Pentagon experts had theorized that anyone could activate their genetic wealth code with practically no effort at all. How could this even be possible, I asked. The answer is simple, Lance said. Sound waves. Yes, as simple as that. Lance explained the Pentagon had been researching how sound could activate this genetic wealth code in regular people. Lance continued, it's well known these days that sound can have a dramatic effect on the body. It can make us feel wonderful. It can make us feel terrible. Like when white noise is used to torture people. Sound sets our heart racing, like an alarm sound, for example. Or it can calm us down and even soothe us. And recent research has shown that sound can actually affect genes and their expression. Lance told me how. Scientists have proven already how they can alter gene expression in different ways. This process is referred to as changing the epigenome or gene instruction. And scientists have proven how sound at certain frequencies can actually alter genes, activating some genes and deactivating other genes at will. Certain music and frequencies can affect the expression of genes involved in the immune system. Certain types of music and sound can stimulate the release of neurotransmitters and hormones that regulate mood and stress, which can in turn affect how genes express themselves in certain ways. In other words, turning on and off certain genes. Or turning on the genetic wealth code inside us. It makes sense if you think about it, Lance said. Lance explained how. Albert Einstein said once that the future of medicine is in sounds and frequencies. The Pentagon had effectively spent millions of dollars on a technology that had been around since the time of the Egyptians. Sound. Lance continued to explain how. The coolest part about using sound to activate your genetic wealth code is that it's effortless. The only problem you'll have is how to spend all the money that starts showing up in your life. I started to have flashes of what my life could look like for a second with my genetic wealth code activated. No more scrimping and saving. No more lumping heavy luggage around for people who are going on trips to foreign places I could never see. Having enough money to buy my family anything they wanted and really spoil them. And that's when Lance burst my balloon and sucked the life out of the room in a flash. No one had managed to decipher the exact sound frequency the ancient Book of the Dead was referring to that could activate or unlock this genetic wealth code. The experiments had tried all sorts of different frequencies and sounds, but nothing worked so far. No one could figure out the frequency of the sound that was needed to unlock this genetic wealth code. All of a sudden, I felt like there was no hope again. Like this was just another cruel joke the universe was playing on me, getting my hopes up only to dash them on the rocks. Yet I knew there was a reason I had met Lance. And then it came to me. Man, it was a long shot, a big long shot, but it felt like serendipity. I thought about my brother-in-law Jeff, who worked in the history department of the university. Jeff was one of the smartest guys I'd ever met. He had a double first in science and physics before he moved into his main passion of study, history. I felt somehow he could help us. It was worth a shot anyway. I ran the idea by Lance and he was game. I had to call Jeff a few times before he picked up. He thought I was calling him for another loan, I guess. After a few tries, he answered. I don't need a loan, I blurted out first, before Jeff could say anything. He seemed surprised. Okay, then what are you calling me for at this time, Andrew? Have you been drinking? He sighed. There's no time for that, I said. Listen up. I then explained everything, meeting Lance, the genetic wealth code, the whole story. I could hear his skepticism in his sighs down the phone. I guess my story was pretty crazy. But then I mentioned the Book of the Dead. I could feel his ears prick up, as he had a passion for history and worked in the history department of the university. He specialized in Egyptian artifacts, so this was bound to catch his attention. I also knew he secretly had a massive interest in UFOs. I had caught a glimpse of UFO magazine in the glove compartment of his car one time when getting a ride to work. Lance and I were on his porch about 1 hour later, having got a cab ride straight from the airport. Lance shared the email, the research materials, everything he had. Jeff said to leave it with him for the next week. He would go through everything in the ancient text and Pentagon research materials and see what he can find. Jeff said it was a long shot, like looking for a needle in a haystack. He was searching for a frequency in the ancient book that would match up with the genetic wealth code and help activate it. The next 3 days were super stressful for me. My wife Carrie kept asking what was wrong. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't hold a conversation for longer than a few seconds. Every time the phone rang, I jumped up to answer it. And then, on Friday of that week, came my answer. Jeff called, and he was more excited than I'd ever heard him. "I got it! I got it!" He screamed like an excited teenage girl. He had found a number hidden in the hieroglyphic text in the ancient book that matched the genetic wealth code sequence. This number he found was a sound frequency. Interestingly enough, the code was a sequence of number 3s in the book, and the genetic wealth code was connected to the 3rd chakra, chakra number 3. This piqued Jeff's interest and led him to find this frequency by focusing on all the texts with the number 3 in the book. It was now time to test it out. As luck would have it, one of Jeff's friends was a sound engineer, a pretty successful one at that, who had worked with some of the bigger bands 20 years ago, bands like Metallica and Soundgarden. He was happy to do some work on the sound and get something we could all listen to. A few days later, he arrived at the house. "What the hell is that?" he said. "The sound is incredible." We all looked at each other with nervous excitement. We now had something we could finally listen to, something that could potentially activate our genetic wealth code. But we needed proof. So we decided we would all go away and spend the weekend listening to the recording and see what would happen. We listened for a week and met up at Jeff's place the next week to discuss our experience. The results? A big fat nothing. Nothing had changed in any of our lives. I was still up to my eyes in debt, still struggling to get any money together. We looked at each other, frustrated and perplexed. I felt my heart sink. "Get a grip on yourself, Andrew," I muttered to myself. "You will probably always struggle when it comes to money." And that's when Lance chimed in with a thought. "What if we need to listen during sleep?" Lance said. "Let me explain," he said. Lance told us how during sleep, our brain goes into a very receptive state. It's called a theta state, like when we were impressionable children. Inside this state, we are back in a childlike brain state when we are wide open to receive information. If music or sound is going to help change our gene expression and activate this genetic wealth code, it had the best chance of happening during sleep. Our childhood is a time when our genes are most exposed to being expressed or not. It was worth trying. So that next week, we listened to our sound at bedtime, just when we were falling off to sleep. I just put on the recording as I was nodding off in bed and let that frequency do its work when I was most open to it. And finally, there was some change that started to happen. It was small at first, like really small. I found a $100 bill on the floor of the airport as I was making my way home after a shift. Not a fortune, of course, but this was so strange. I never found money in all my years working there. Then things started to accelerate. Remember the overtime I was always applying for in my baggage handling role? I'd been doing that for years. It was the only way I knew to make any extra money. Well, it turned out they had miscalculated my overtime for 6 years. I was getting a slightly lower rate than the agreed union hourly rate. I had not even noticed, as there was not that much of a difference in the hourly rate, but all those hours added up over the years. The best part? I was due an immediate tax rebate check for $7,899.35. That was owed to me. I know it's not a lot to many people, but to me, it was life-changing. I got to buy some extra presents for my daughter Sarah. I'd known she wanted for ages for her birthday. That made me happier than anything I could remember in recent times. I was able to immediately pay off some bills that were hanging over my head and pay Jeff back too. Things started to snowball from there. I had tried a number of different online businesses in the past, but nothing had worked out. Now I felt this strange pull to revisit one of the projects I had worked on, and this time, things were different. The business just seemed to flow easier, and before long, with pretty much minimal effort on my part, I had a job-replacing income from this online business coming into my bank account on autopilot. It grew to a passive 6-figure income and continues to grow today. Later that year, I met a man at a seminar who was looking for a small investment in his online business. Again, I felt a kind of pull inside me to give it a go. I invested in his idea, and a few months later, I cashed out of the business for a multiple 7-figure sum. It was clear this sound had activated this genetic wealth code inside me. And I was not the only one. When we met up again as a group, we all had stories to tell about how our fortunes had turned around. Jeff had been offered a book deal out of the blue, writing about ancient artifacts for a global publisher specializing in the area, something he was super passionate about. The upfront retainer is twice his yearly salary. And Lance had a turn of luck as well. Despite previously finding it hard to get another job because of the Chinese tech company had blackened his name in the industry after they fired him, he was offered a role with a rival startup social media company. They could not match his previous salary, so offered him equity in the company instead. The new company then took off like a rocket. He's made so much money now, he never needs to work again. We all shared the recording with our friends and family. This was too good to keep to ourselves. And again, stories flooded in of cash windfalls, new cars, boats, holidays, and life-changing income flowing in with no effort into people's lives. Yes, of course, this information had been classified. But this frequency of sound in its current form came from our work, from our dedication to putting the final piece of the puzzle in place when it came to attracting wealth and abundance effortlessly. We all felt a need to get this sound out more into the public domain, to let more people know about it, to let it activate the genetic wealth code inside us all, and not just let the 1% keep all the wealth for themselves. We improved on the sound we used originally, making the sound crisper, sharper, clearer, more impactful to help money flow into people's lives without them having to work like dogs for it like most people. I've shared this sound with up to 37,000 people and counting as we speak. Now I want to share it with you. That's why I'm super pleased to introduce you to the Genetic Wealth Code program online. The powerful audio track produced from millions of dollars of Pentagon research and ancient wisdom behind has the power to transform your life forever. It's the only program out there with the power to switch on your genetic wealth code so you can finally let money and wealth and happiness and good health flow into your life with an ease and speed you never thought possible. All you need to do is play the track for a few minutes while you're dropping off to sleep at night. The rest will be taken care of by your genetic wealth code as it gets activated and starts creating money opportunities for you where you never saw them before. To activate your genetic wealth code, simply listen to the 7-minute audio track and allow the frequency to switch on the genetic wealth code inside you. It will do all the work for you. You just sit back and listen. After spending so much of my life at rock bottom and completely lost financially and spiritually, there is a new divine purpose in my life. I want to help as many people as possible activate their own genetic wealth code. It's my mission in life. And it's causing some waves in the manifestation community. Some people in the manifestation community want to shut this down because this secret is too easy when it comes to effortlessly attracting money. But I'm more worried about the elites and government. They do not want this secret to get out there. I've already received phone calls telling me to take this site down, but I've refused to give in to their demands. This is too damn important. I'm going to try to do everything I can to make sure this stays on the internet. That's why you need to take action today. In case I fail and this site is gone soon. I hate the thought of people like I was out there, struggling to get by, feeling like a failure in life when it's just not their fault. I could not forgive myself if I did not share this information with people that motivated me to share this sound with people I knew were struggling a short time ago. People who need this program in their lives like you and I need water to live. People like George from London, UK. Here's what he had to say. I feel like I'm finally in the driving seat of my own life. There's more money in my life. I feel like I can draw in as much wealth as I want. Finally. Then there's Josephine from Portland who said, I always suffered from depression and a lack of hope in my life. A lack of money certainly didn't help that feel any better. I now feel like I can do anything I want. I've already tripled my income and my money worries are fading fast. Or how about Linda from San Antonio, Texas? After being stuck struggling with money and personal issues for years, this sound is now transforming my life like never before. It's opening up doors to new horizons and opportunities in my life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. People have reported back to me, telling me about the thousands of dollars they have manifested with this sound. So many friends recommended I charge $2,000 for this sound. Some said I should charge more. I want to get this out to as many people as possible though. I don't want price to be an issue for anyone. I don't need to make a profit. All I need to do is get enough to keep this site up and running and pay the support people staff to answer any questions or queries you have. So you won't invest anything like $2,000 today, or even half that, or half of that again. When you claim our genetic wealth code sound today, all I ask is a small donation of $39. That's it. It's a one-off payment, no recurring charges. That's it. Which is a steal when you think of how this is going to transform your life. $39 is just enough for us to cover the expenses of the site and keep the video streaming. When you consider how this sound can lead to a bulging bank account, to new dilemmas in your life like what exotic place to vacation in as opposed to what utility bill to pay next, it's a complete no-brainer. If you want to transform your life from the inside out today with no effort on your part and see money flooding into your life as if by magic, then hit the instant access button right now. You will be taken to a secure order form where you will enter your payment details and then you'll be taken directly to the product page. We decided to partner with the online platform called ClickBank to process our transactions. That's because they offer world-class, military-grade encryption and security. Activating your genetic wealth code is going to change your reality for the better in the next 21 days, starting tonight. Now, since time is of the essence, I want you to have this simple yet powerful tool that reprograms your reality so you attract wealth like steel to a magnet. But I understand if you may be on the fence about taking a leap of faith. I know I would be. That's why we're including 3 amazing free bonuses when you complete your order today. The first bonus is Millionaire Mindset. Normal retail value, $71. This report is the perfect partner to the Genetic Wealth Code. Inside, you will see how millionaires attract large sums of money almost effortlessly, and how you can copy what they do. This report will help you maximize the results you get from the Genetic Wealth Code. You will get a unique look into their mindset and be able to model the traits they have. You also get the Genetic Wealth Code Planner. Normal retail value, $67. Your life is going to change radically in the next 21 days. It's going to continue to change over the next 6 months. The Genetic Wealth Code Planner is going to help you plan and deal with all the money and new opportunities that are coming your way. You will also get Chakra Healing Sounds, retail value $97. There is potential to attract wealth in all of your chakras. This is a 7-track program to help you unlock, cleanse, and heal all your chakras so that you can multiply and magnify the wealth coming into your life. These bonuses have a combined value of $235. You are getting them today for free when you claim your copy of the Genetic Wealth Code. And I need to mention something important right now. When you order today, you are fully backed by our no-quibble 365-day money-back guarantee. Here's how that works. Simply click the Instant Access button right now. You will be taken to a page to enter your details. You'll then have full access to the Genetic Wealth Code soundtrack. I want you to listen to it for 10 minutes every night. I have no doubt you will then see money and opportunities coming into your life in the next 30 days. The money will come differently for different people. Everyone is different after all. I know your life is going to completely transform in the next 30 days. And if for any reason or no reason you feel you are not satisfied, I want you to email us for a complete no-hassle refund. There will be no questions, no quibbling, just an immediate refund. So you risk absolutely nothing here. All the risk is on my shoulders. When you click the Instant Access button right now and claim the Genetic Wealth Code, you are simply taking it for a risk-free test drive for the next year, at 0 risk to you. I wanted to make this as risk-free as possible. Look, you're at a crossroads right now. You can continue as you are and close this page, but ask yourself, where will you be in a week, a month, or even 6 months from now? In the same place you are right now, right? With the same money problems, just barely scraping by, and stressed out about bills and payments. These kinds of problems tend to get worse over time unless you do something to change them. So who knows how bad things could get? The good news is, your life does not have to play out like that, like it does for so many unfortunate people who do not have access to this life-changing information. You can see money flooding into your life in the next 30 days as if by magic when you sit back, listen to the track, and let your Genetic Wealth Code do the money attraction for you. Imagine now what you could do if your mind was not worried about money. You could really experience what life has to offer. Taste the real sweetness of life. Maybe spend more time doing hobbies like golf or traveling, or experience first-class travel and first-class meals out, first-class everything. Maybe you'd spend more precious time with family and friends, or sock away all the money you need for old age or a rainy day. Remember, this site and this opportunity could be taken down at any time, and this opportunity, which does not come along every day, gone forever. Click the Instant Access button below and claim the Genetic Wealth Code and free bonuses completely risk-free. A wise man once said, most people are too busy making a living to enjoy living. Change your life for the better now. Hit the Instant Access button below now. I'll see you on the other side. If you're still around, you may have a few questions. Let me cover a few of the most common ones that come up. Here are a few of them now. People ask, what is the Genetic Wealth Code program? The Genetic Wealth Code is a special program to activate your genetic wealth code using sound. It's the only program of its kind that does this. Once your genetic wealth code is activated, you are ready to at last experience a flood of wealth into your life like never before. We have also been asked, other manifestation programs have not worked for me. How is the Genetic Wealth Code different? Most manifestation programs simply don't address the real deep cause of what's blocking wealth in your life, because it's deep within you, at the level of your genes and their expression. The good news is that genes can be switched on and off. Wealthy people have their genetic wealth code already switched on for some reason. Scientists do not really know why exactly, but listening to this sound will switch your genetic health code on immediately today. How is my personal information protected? We protect your personal information with 256-bit encryption technologies using Secure Sockets Layer (SSL). This is military-grade encryption, meaning your personal information is as safe as Fort Knox. How does the guarantee work? Your investment in yourself is 100% risk-free. You get an entire 12 months to decide if the genetic wealth code is right for you. If at any point during that 365-day period you feel like it's not the right fit, simply email us and we'll refund every single penny, no questions asked. I wanted to make sure you have the time you need to get the results you want. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. How soon should I expect results? No two people are alike. This means there's no way to give an exact answer that would be true for everyone. Some have seen amazing results right out of the gate. Most people experience results within 21 days. But here's the thing, the results build on themselves. The more consistently you listen to the genetic wealth code sound, the more powerful your results will be. Plus, since everyone is different, I wanted to make sure you had an entire year to try it out risk-free. Will this really impact every area of my life? You'll finally be living your best life because the genetic wealth code will finally be reversing the negative programming you've been chained to for far too long. You'll experience a level of financial freedom you only dreamed was possible.